Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Books and Betches. I'm Kristen, and with me I have...
Erica.
Maria.
This is a book podcast. We swear, we spoil, we talk about sex, we suck at podcasting. This week we're doing something we've never done before and will probably never do again.
I think this is a one and done.
One and done.
I don't know if we need to continue to...
How can we possibly?
Really?
What, like,
You guys never want to do another one again?
I mean, I would, but for the podcast, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
We'll see how this one goes. How about that? This week we're doing a choose your own adventure. We're doing the classic, The Cave of Time,
Bye.
by Edward Packard.
There we go.
So if you know anything about choose your own adventure, you know this is in a second person perspective. You are the main character, right?
yes. Can I tell you the background of why we picked this?
Yes.
or why
Yeah, I
picked
don't know
this?
what that is actually. Why did you do that?
So,
He bought it.
Okay.
I knew that.
I worked at a job.
Oh,
Yeah.
sick. Okay.
Not
Say more?
Not my current job right now. The job before
Okay.
was a demo automation platform. Why are you laughing so
Because
hard?
it was just like, I worked a job. Oh.
Tell me more about the job you worked at.
It was a demo automation platform.
The fuck does that mean?
What does that mean?
So basically, like,
You know
it's like-
those reels where it's like my friend always tells me what she does, but I have no idea what she does? That is to a T, Erica.
Erica, yeah.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so you get sent like a video. Think of like a vidyard. Do you guys have like vidyards or anything like
What
that? Or
are
like
you saying?
a Vimeo?
Vimeo,
like,
I know, okay,
like,
okay.
like a hosted,
Sure.
not like YouTube, but like a hosted,
Yep,
like
yes.
a personal link
Yes.
that you could send to somebody.
Yes. Okay.
So what ends up happening is when you have really like complex like tech products, you need some type of like material, and most companies will create demos.
Okay.
of
Got
it.
their, of their tech
Got
that
it.
they
Yes.
sell.
Yes.
And a lot of
I'm glad you're
times
following. Yep.
Yes.
you need an engineer to explain what that does.
Like when you're on Amazon and
Right?
you're trying to buy a product, it's like, this is the product we're selling.
Yes, but like a salesperson is not smart enough.
Oh,
I'm not saying it like that, but is not
techie enough.
techie enough
Okay, yeah.
to
Okay.
explain this very complicated tech product. So
Clearly,
you really need
yes.
a demo for
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
So basically what my company did was they created a way for you to like create a single video that you could send out to multiple people, right? Like you can just
Okay.
keep sending it out. You can get data from like watches, and like if people go back and listen to it again, right? Like whatever. But then they took it a step further. So like a Vimeo, so like that's the Vimeo, but they took it a step further. So like think of if you like got sent to Vimeo, but you were a marketing person and you clicked on marketing, and it sent like a very specific video for marketing, and you were the CEO. You got a CEO like high level one. You were I don't know, like you were in IT, the IT of whatever the background of
Sure.
like that product
Gets
was.
an IT video.
So how we sold this in our like sales pitch, and like when we like got people to try to like adopt this product, we were like, it's like choose your own adventure because you could create decision trees. So like my example was like the different types of people. You could also make it as like do you want to see this? And you could list out 10 different things
Yep.
and have them choose.
They have to make all of those.
So you have to make the decision tree.
Damn.
But you could make videos.
It's like a video game.
at
As
every-
the editor in there, I'm like, oh, you're asking for a lot of videos.
Dang. Okay.
Yes. So like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of benefit in how like to create that. But basically I was like, choose your own adventure. I was like, I haven't read these books in so long.
Yeah.
And one of our slide decks was a picture of all of these books, because that's how you kind of explain it, is like this like
Yeah.
decision tree
Sure.
that you can like, we're trying to like simplify a complicated product. It's not a
So
complicated
you've read
product.
these before?
No, I have. Yeah.
I have not.
When I
never
was like a
did,
kid.
no.
Neither.
When
I
I was a
never read
kid,
them.
for sure. But I was also like, I haven't read one in so long, and I was like, I really want to like understand this a little bit more. So I bought one. It was like $3 on Amazon. I bought one because I was like, I'm talking about this in my every day at my
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
And I'm like, those choose your own adventure books? And I was like, I don't even know what I'm talking about because I
Yeah.
don't remember
Interesting.
it.
Yeah.
So then I bought one and I started reading it, and I was like, oh, this is so fun. And then I was looking for another idea for a new book, and I was like, oh my God, a choose your own adventure book, but make it different genres.
Oh.
So when you choose your adventure, you're choosing
A new genre.
a new genre.
That's
Within
great.
the same book.
a new genre ending for each
That
book.
would be great for book club. Then everybody gets a piece of like something they
So
like.
you can kind of like go through the genres.
They've done this on some like readathons on BookTube I've seen
Ooh.
before, where the readathon like organizers would have different prompts depending on what you read. So let's say the first video you pick, and they'll have other like creators join in. So let's say you finish a book, and because your book ended with the letter T, you can now pick the video that goes with the letter T. Like, oh, your book ended with a T, or your book ended with Z, whatever. Go with that one. Then it's a new person. Okay, your next prompt is this, and you're basically going through your choose your own adventure of book prompts to read different books.
Interesting.
So that's really choose your adventure
like,
I've
vibes.
seen, but never like reading it physically.
Yeah, I've seen different versions of this. I don't think I read like this specific one, but I've seen versions of it.
This was the biggest. I think this was the one that kickstarted.
So this guy created this genre.
Yeah, so
I didn't know
Edward
that.
Packard was a lawyer, and he used to read bedtime stories to his kids. And then his kids started chiming in and being like, well, what if you did this? Well, what if you did this? And then he was like, oh my gosh, I could write a book like this. And they were like, well, do it. So he was still doing the lawyer thing, wrote his first choose your own adventure, and it didn't really go anywhere. And it was like, I think it was like 6 years later or something. And he pitched it to Vermont Press, which I love that it's a Vermont homegrown. And this guy took a chance on him. I think the first one was like Sugarcane Island or something. It was like the choose your adventure or something. That phrase, choose your own adventure, wasn't even coined until after a couple of those books took off. And he just said it. He just wrote on there, he's like, choose your own adventure. And he didn't have the copyright for it. And I think somebody else ended up taking that
happens
name.
a lot.
But I think they ended up all working together. And then you'll see like there's so many of these, but there's not that many authors
who do it.
I think there's like 3 of them.
There's only like 3 authors that do it.
And they like teamed up and created all of these choose your own adventure things.
So when I posted this on the story and I was like, my next book is probably going to be a choose your own adventure book. I'm like still kind of in the planning stages. People were like, and gave me recommendations on a couple of other ones that were like more recently written.
Oh, there are recent. I was wondering if anybody was still writing.
I don't think they're like this, where it's like, I think they're like a little bit more, like books where it's like the writing is like on the page weird and like the like it's like shit like that.
Like
I think there's a book
poetry.
called House of Leaves that has like books, like the pages are, it's all wild. You can read things backwards, upside down. It's like very.
How do you get stuff like that printed?
I don't know.
I think of what was her name? Gabby on YouTube, who like went crazy and then
Hannah?
Yeah,
Gabby
Gabby
Hanna.
Hanna. She wrote poetry. She was inspired by who's that like famous poet that ended up being bad back in the day? You remember like the sidewalk one that everybody used to read?
Shel Silverstein.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like that's where it all originated from. Like he would write different ways, like backwards and stuff like that. But I think of that. I don't know how you would get that printed though. I guess you would just
get it
Well,
printed.
I guess it would be illustrated technically.
Yeah, I think so. Technically.
I don't know.
But that's different. I feel like that's not really a choose your own adventure, is it? Because are you still making the decisions?
No, I guess it's not. I guess
I don't
there's
know.
just-
I don't know. It's like I haven't read one.
Yeah.
But I do plan on. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, mine has a card in it.
Mine has like property of Miss Johnson. And I'm like,
Weird.
someone stole it from the classroom and I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah, Maria and I ended up buying them on
Off Thrift Books.
On Thrift Books, and
I don't think you can buy these new. I mean,
well, okay.
these
So
are
wild
new.
story is I ordered this book because Erica was talking about it. We read it. We were like, let's do it for the podcast, right? Had already read it. It was done. Whatever. I go to PAX East, which is a video game convention here on the East Coast in Boston, and I turn the corner, and what do you see? A booth of Choose Your Own Adventure. And I was like, first of all, I never even heard, like I know Choose Your Own Adventure, obviously, especially in games, but I'd never heard of The Cave of Time. And I know it's popular, but I just didn't read those books when I was a kid. So for me to turn the corner, I'm like, I hadn't
and then
heard
see
about
an
this.
entire booth for it is crazy.
Like after we're just talking about it,
The
it's nuts.
synchronicity is kind of crazy.
Yeah, so I bought these ones: The Abominable Snowman, Journey Under the Sea, Space and Beyond,
Looks
The
like
Lost
Sasquatch to me.
Jewels of Nabuti.
Nabooty.
So yeah, there's new
but
ones.
yeah, these books. So as I'm planning my own, I'm very confused on how to do this.
I don't know how.
I don't know
also,
how I did it.
there's a game. I just wanted to bring this up because it's even more intricate. You have to look at this. It's insane. The cards are like paragraphs long. So you're playing a game And the way that they came up with that in their head, because you have to like get clues and then you like gain not stamina, but like some intuition. How do they
Experience.
think of that? How?
So when I was reading this, it just gave me D&D vibes.
Yes. And I think that's
So-
kind of what choose your own adventure is, where it's like you're in that
I would
position.
assume what you have to do is think of your
I think you
5
have to think of-
storylines.
I think you have to think of the 5 endings.
Yeah,
right?
think of your
Like,
5
There's, like,
endings
way
and work
more.
backwards.
That's cool. What's crazy is like these ones
me see that.
have 40 endings.
40. This one even has a shit ton.
It has 20 something. Like these ones, the Lost Jewels of Nabuti have 38, 42.
How do you know? Oh, 44.
28.
How the fuck? And then they all have
And
to
they're
like
so small.
They all have to. Yeah, they're small.
So the text is only like half a page.
Yeah, a lot
Or,
of it's like illustrated.
if you're
at the absolute
here.
most, like a page and a half, or
Yeah.
not a page and a half, like 3/4 of a page.
go to YouTube, you could see what we're talking about. We have the books in
So
our
like,
hands.
okay,
Dinosaur.
it'll be like this, and then it'll say like, if you continue on the flight to Paris, turn to page 39. If you escape these 3 people by booking a flight to Spain instead of France, turn to page 41.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of make a decision in the situation. This one's like, if you accept the offer of a weapon, turn to page 75. So it is kind of like D&D because
Yeah,
you're like
This is
rolling.
like the only time I think second perspective makes the most sense. Like,
Yeah, you
how
have to.
often when have you ever read another one?
So
Yes,
let's
I have.
read,
You
let's
have?
try to
You.
read through one.
Oh, you is
You is in second
written
person.
in second person.
Yes, that's why I love it.
How is the show?
So,
made?
well, the show is a show. It's
Right,
different.
right,
but I've said this since the beginning. It's one of my favorite audiobooks. The way it's written is you walked into the bookstore today. You were wearing a pink top with no bra.
But it's from the perspective. No, but that's different, right?
But Joe is our narrator.
so it's from a perspective. It's from a first person's perspective.
When he says
talking
I,
about somebody
sure,
else.
but like yes,
Yes.
yes, and
Second
no.
perspective is like you're the
Total
character.
second perspective. I haven't read.
Yeah. I don't think you can. I think it's only choose your own adventure that it works.
So shall we do one together?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to start since you're holding it?
Wait. For Cave of Time, we all had a different story, right?
Oh, do we want to tell our stories first?
Let's
and
talk
then-
about
I
Cave
don't
of Time.
remember what my story
Well,
was.
I could tell because we were just talking
We were just
about
talking
this.
about ours.
The Cave of Time one, for me, my story was so lame in comparison to whatever the fuck Maria was talking about. So I'm curious how yours ended because ours changed at the exact same time, which is at this part where we both got caught into a castle, right? Like, did you end up in
the
a
king.
castle? We ended up in a castle with a king, and we had a decision if either you jump out the window
Or
or,
you stay.
You stay.
What did you do?
What did you do?
I jumped out the window.
Me too.
Okay, you both jumped.
Yeah.
So then what
Hell
happened
yeah.
after the jump?
Hell yeah, I jumped.
Okay.
Hell fucking yeah. And then I came upon a servant who said, basically go to this like, oh my God, what did he say? Sorry. It was a lake.
Loch Ness.
Yes. So he was saying like, I can go to this lake. The monster swims away, blah, 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 blah.
Do you remember any of that?
Yes.
Okay.
But then it says like, you could find your way back to the Cave of Time. So I either,
And I went back to the Cave of Time.
okay, I did not.
What did you do?
I went and did this thing. I guess I did.
So what happened after you went to the Cave of Time?
It like ended. Like
No
shortly after.
way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you have an egg?
Max home.
So I got an egg somehow, and I don't remember how.
Okay, let's just go through it.
Okay, but my option was either to put it in the closet or show my uncle, and I showed my uncle, and then my option was to either
Eat it.
open it or bring it to the zoo, and I chose bring it to the zoo to figure out what it was. And you know how it ended?
Copyright if we read it.
I don't know, but do you know how it ended? I want to tell you my ending. Listen to my
What
ending.
ending?
We've
They
done it
said
before. We did the egg.
that is true. It ended with them saying, "You never know what's in this egg." And you eagerly await for the phone to ring. Sick.
Oh.
Fucking cool. They think it might be a dinosaur.
Where did mine end?
Mine was fine. I ran away I rode a horse.
I didn't do any of this cool shit.
So this is where I figured it out. I can understand the old man replies why you don't want to take the chance with another time, for other times are perilous and filled with evil people and evil deeds. You are wise to avoid them. I will gladly direct you back to your own time, which you should know is no better, no worse.
That's how yours ended?
Yeah.
See, it was like, how did yours
It was like
end?
nothing.
You said something about
I took
aliens.
a horse. So I read 3 times.
Oh.
I did 3 different endings. So
Okay, so this maybe I'll just like summarize.
Hold on, I want to hear about her.
okay,
alien.
my first one was the king captured. I escape.
Yeah.
Off. Take a horse. Leave. Cool. I'm still like in the past. The second one.
Oh yeah, that's right. Passed.
I am out there. An alien ship comes, drops
I want that
primitive people.
Oh, actually, okay, yeah. I do.
Primitive
remember this.
people, and it's like, let me.
The second time I did it, I went to the primitive people.
Yeah,
as
primitive
well.
people, and it's like either you stay with
In
them
the cave with them,
or
yeah.
you like leave. And I think I stayed with them. I was like, cool, whatever. And
They like teach you their language or something.
something like that. You try to
Yeah.
communicate. You have a good time.
Yes.
End.
Yeah, I did that one too.
Then the third one. What was the third one?
There's so many options,
The third one was pretty cool too.
but I
can't
think
remember
all
what
of
it
ours
was.
intersect in different ways.
Well,
so
you
like,
go through.
Turn to
You can.
page
There's only so many
5.
choices for so long.
mine got
what I mean?
confusing towards the
If
middle.
so it said if you seek shelter or brave the wind. I was like, I think I went back to the shelter. That was the first time I brave the wind. So I went to the wind. I went to the cold. And then as you ponder your fate, you stumble and fall, plunging into a deep crevice. You black out and awaken, still shivering, but in a warmer place, at least by the dim ember light. You see somehow you've fallen back into one of the chambers of the Cave of Time. The passageway leads to the right, one to the left. So I was like, I always listen to Queso. And Queso's like, always go left. So I went left. So it was page
That's
24.
actually so funny.
And leads you up here to surface before a grassy meadow. You notice a herd of buffalo, but nowhere you see a house, a fence, or a road, or any sign of human presence. Is it possible you're living hundreds, perhaps thousands of years ago? You gaze upward, one of the puffy white cloud. That's a spaceship one.
Yeah. Okay.
Spaceship,
So we all got the time vibe.
Yeah, everything's time.
Time was like obviously the Cave of Time. It was past.
Yeah, you
the
like
million
went
years.
to different time periods.
Let me see this. Do we want to?
I think we should do our own. Why not?
Or do we come up with decisions together? Should
Yes.
we do one we haven't done before?
I think so. That'd be fun.
Something totally different. What about the abominable snowman?
It looks like it looks like Chewbacca. Not Chewbacca.
That feels like
feels
our
like the right
vibe,
one,
right?
yeah.
And like you said, I think we can summarize a little tiny. Well, maybe not. All right, Erica and Maria, this is for you. You are a mountain climber. 3 years ago.
not a thing. I can't do that.
3 years ago, you spent the summer climbing at climbing school in the mountains of Colorado. Your instructor said that you had natural skills as a climber. Definitely not. You made rapid progress. By the end of the summer, you were leading difficult rock and ice climbs. That summer, you became close friends with a boy named Carlos. The two of you made a good climbing team. Last year, you and he, is that right? You and him?
Might be.
You and he were chosen to join an international team. The expedition made it to the top of the two unclimbed peaks in South America. One night on that expedition, the group was seated through the cook tent at the base camp. The expedition leader, Franz, told stories of climbing in the Himalayas, the highest mountains in the world. Turn to page 2, then to page 4. Like what?
Oh, you see the picture and then 4.
Oh, okay. Here's your decision. You ready? You telephone Mr. Runnell. Who the fuck is Mr. Runnell?
Okay, you're not doing this well.
It doesn't matter.
I lied. Number 4. The Himalayas form a great natural wall between India and China, blah, blah, blah. The Yeti is said to be the huge beast, Franz tells you, perhaps a cross between a gorilla and a human. People cannot agree with it. Is the Yeti dangerous? Carlos asks. Some say it is. Other people say the Yeti is very gentle. Have you ever seen one? No. I'm summarizing, okay? Sorry. But the story still progresses. You and Carlos decide then and there to find the Yeti. When you return from South America, the two of you raise money. That's awesome. You'll find the photograph the Yeti. This is basically us. Like, we want to go out there. We want to photograph the Yeti, right? That brings you to Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal. Your problems, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, though, have already begun. 2 days ago, Carlos left by helicopter to look over the terrain near Mount Everest. The helicopter returned without him. The pilot told you that Carlos decided to stay up in Everest Base Camp to check the report on the Yeti. He had a radio transmitter, but you have received no word from him. The weather turned bad and the radio communication was interrupted. You have an appointment to speak with R.N. Runnell, the director of expeditions and mountain research. You need his help with official permits for the expedition. He will also have good advice and information. But what about Carlos? Here's our decisions. If you decide to cancel your meeting with Runnell and search for Carlos, turn to page 7. If you feel that Carlos is okay and go ahead with your plan to meet Runnell, turn to page 8. Now, personally...
Is it our decision or yours?
Okay, go ahead. Make your decision. You going out there for Carlos and Everest, or are you going to talk to Runnell?
I think we got to talk to Ronald.
If he has information, I would talk to Ronald.
God, you guys suck. I would have
made a bad decision to go.
If
should
the
be going on Everest.
If the weather, number one, Everest kills everybody. If the weather's
Everest.
gone
Die
that
on base
bad,
camp.
if the weather's gone that bad, how am I going to save him if I don't have information from this super smart guy?
Me going to Everest is not gonna. I'm just gonna die.
I'm gonna offer you a word of advice. Think less. Go with the adventure. All right, fine. You walk down a street bordered by tall pines. They're green and blue. Like I said, I'm going to paraphrase. Okay, sorry. You stop and look up, wondering what they are. Hanging from upper branches are like huge tree, tear-shaped, blackish brown fruit.
Whoa.
Weird.
Oops.
I don't know why. Oh, they're bats, the largest bats you've ever seen. Oh. You reach the ministry and you are shown the waiting room. You wait a few minutes. He comes out. Welcome to our country. Wish you success. But I have some bad news. The expedition you have proposed could be very dangerous. You look at it knowing what to expect. The helicopter stays at base camp and you and Ronald descend on foot along a narrow, rocky...
So we ended up going to base camp anyway.
Path below the snow line into the pine forest. It takes many hours of careful walking. The trail suddenly becomes very steep and one side falls off more than 1,000 meters to a river. You come to a small stone house with a thatched roof. An old woman sits in the sunlight by the door. Can you tell us if any climbers came by? Blah, blah, blah. The woman nods, says 2 men came by earlier. The younger one left a note. Don't follow, wait at base camp, Carlos. Mm-hmm. Ronald turns to you with a puzzled look. Carlos is your friend. If it were up to me, I would ignore his message, but you know him better. What now? What do you think?
Oh, you gotta wait.
If you obey the message and climb back up to the base camp to wait for Carlos, turn to page 20. If you ignore the message...
No, you wait. You gotta wait.
He said to wait.
He wrote, don't follow, wait at base camp.
Fucking wait.
But what if it wasn't Carlos?
Why would it not be Carlos?
Why are you thinking so much?
Okay, so you're waiting?
Who's scheming on Everest?
Probably best to return to base camp, you say. However, it's getting late. I think we should stay here until dawn, Ronald counters. You make arrangements with the woman to spend the night. She brings stuff. You can't sleep. The wind is high. Close to dawn, you hear a piercing scream.
Oh, it's the guy we're with.
Damn.
He's dead.
You're quick, but not quick enough. Wait. Turn to page 31. Oh, 31. So you always got to look on the bottom. So you hear a scream. Yowie! The noise seems to be coming from right outside your window.
Hope you don't wake up the baby.
Oh, sorry. Ronald moves quickly to the doorway. The woman is outside the house at the edge of the trail, holding up a battered kerosene lantern. You hear the cry again. This time it's even louder. Yowie, 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 yowie. Suddenly sound diminishes. It seems to be getting further and further away.
Yowie?
Is it a single? That's how he wrote it.
You wrote yowie? Like Tom and Jerry?
Yowie.
Yowie.
Those are the Yeti, she says. Yeah. They invite you to join them and Carlos. What should you do?
Carlos
this is more than
them.
you bargained for. You look at Ronald, then at the woman. It's in the chilly half night of the morning. The Yeti sound is growing fainter by the minute. If you follow the sound of the Yeti, turn to page 43. If you return to base camp in the helicopter, turn to page 45.
I say we follow now, but I think Carlos is with them.
Follow the Yeti.
That's what we like to hear. We're going to get answers. All right, you run down the trail with Ronald following. Minutes later, you jerk to a halt. They're in front of you. In front of you is the body of a yak, the ox of the high mountains. The horns have been savagely twisted off. They're now used as markers to point the way from the... Whoa!
Okay.
Is this a kid's book?
Okay.
You pause looking at the horrible sight of the dead yak. The horns may be pointing you to Carlos, and they may lead you into a trap. If you take Ronald with you into the grove for added protection, turn to page 58. If you leave Ronald behind as a rear guard because the person can move more quietly and quickly and go into the grove by yourself, turn to page 62.
What do you think? Leave him behind or bring him with us?
Bring him with us.
Bring him with us. We die together.
Hasn't really been helpful. Cautiously, you both enter the grove. You're careful not to make a noise. He tugs at your sleeve, points to the branch of the pine. Hanging there is a red backpack. You approach it cautiously. It looks like the backpack Carlos may have been carrying. So yeah, if you retreat now and go for more help, turn to page 77. If you give the special bird call whistle that you and Carlos use as your emergency code, turn to page 80.
80.
I agree. I agree. You got to do the code.
I'm already here. Might as well.
Right? All right. This is the end. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. God. Two. You have trouble whistling. You are nervous.
I do have trouble
Then you repeat
whistling.
the signal, only louder this time. There's a sudden crackling of bushes and twigs. You and Ronald pull back, ready to run for it. Carlos breaks out of the bush, sees you two, and yells, "Run for it! Run for it!" A camera dangles from his neck, and the three of you leap out of the thicket and make for the trail. You keep on going until you can go no further. Between gasps for breath, Carlos tells you that the Yeti carried him to the thicket and allowed him to photograph a group of 16 Yeti. They told him that now he had what he needed and that they wanted to be left alone. Well, why were we invited, you ask? To help me get back, I guess. I had no idea where I was. You get back to the helicopter and return to Katabadudo with the first pictures of the world has ever seen of the Yeti. Fame is now yours. It's the beginning of a great new career.
Dang, we did great.
Wow.
See, you were talking so much crap.
We won the book.
Yeah, we won.
We found the
We
Yeti.
did it perfectly.
Like I don't think there's a single ending that I would like. They happen so
You haven't
abruptly.
read this book.
But
know.
just thinking about like, it's like, okay, you did that thing. Good job.
So the way that I want to write it, or mine at least, is I want to write it so that like it's more like magical realism, where like kind of more like Midnight Library, like the hike like type thing, where like there's things
I love that. That's fun.
that like mean things, like hidden meanings, and like more mystical stuff.
Is like the moral of the story going to be like your choices matter?
So the plot line of it,
Are you going to share the plot line?
I'll
Or
share
somebody
at the
steals
beginning of it. Well, if you steal it, then I will fucking come after you.
Tell
Because
them.
it's kind of unique. I have not heard this plot line before.
Today is May
16th?
May 18th, 2025.
And I've had this written in my phone for quite some time. But basically, my Nana used to like wear a scratch offs like queen. Like she just, that was like,
You know that.
it's the gimmick. Like,
Don't worry, my grandma's a gambling problem too.
An Italian grandmother, like she's in the hospital fucking doing scratchies, right?
Dominican
Like,
grandma's asking me for money.
yeah. So scratchies have always been like a very, it's kind of like a love language. Like you just get scratchies
I
from
love how
people.
you call it
like,
scratchies.
Me too.
yeah,
It's very cute.
It's very Boston. But like it's just kind of like a love language. You put it in your cards,
Christmas
like
thing, like
yeah,
the
like
stocking
it's just
stuffer.
stockings for birthdays, for holidays. Like you just buy a scratch, like a $10 scratchy for someone. Like
Yeah.
it just is what it is. My Nana bought a scratchy from Italy when I studied abroad.
Whoa, that's cool.
My dad brought it because my parents visited. My dad brought it back. Fucking won 200 euros.
What?
So they had to
How
send
do you
it.
claim it?
They had to
I was
send it
gonna
back
say.
to me.
Yeah.
And it took almost the whole semester. I got it 2 days before I went home.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
Nana
So
let
what
me
does that
keep
to
the
do with
money.
your story?
Anyways, so the plot of this is that like her grandmother dies and she's cleaning out her grandmother's apartment.
Oh.
And there is like the cat. There's a cat. The cat is, or a dog.
I have a
haven't
new stray
decided.
cat, everybody.
I haven't decided. It's some type of animal. I really like animals as like a guide.
Yeah,
for
They better not get
stories.
hurt, but go on.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but an animal of some sort is like basically like leading them to like this drawer that has an unscratched scratch ticket,
Ooh.
and she's like, "What? Why is this unscratched?" Like
Fun.
she would scratch this, and so she was like, "All right, I'll just scratch it." And every time you scratch it, it brings you somewhere,
Oh,
That's cool.
Fun.
None of you better steal this.
Yeah.
and that's why like so. Decide. She's gonna decide.
How the fuck are you gonna write this?
I know.
Are you
She'll
gonna
figure it
have
out.
like a string board? No, like
I know.
Like
I think I have to. I
She
think I
has to have it.
So my.
She has- but look at the back of this one.
Like, how do you do it? I'm so curious what the process would even
Look
be.
at the back.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they kind of describe how they do it.
Oh,
So my game plan is to get a bunch of cards,
Like Post-its?
Post-its, like what are they called? Flashcards.
Oh, yeah.
Do flashcards and kind of like map it out and see. I think what I need to do is I need to do the endings first,
Work backwards.
figure out, and then work backwards
Yeah.
and see how that
I mean,
goes.
This
Total
is
sense.
actually insane.
Right?
I know.
The more I'm looking at this, it's a map
And like,
of
what
how
are the
they wrote
links
it.
and how the links match to everybody else, or the colors, I guess.
I don't like. Is this a chapter break to like a pivotal moment, or like what?
Yeah,
What are the arrows?
I wish you would have asked them.
I know.
You were there.
So, again, it's kind of like a little complicated and it's a little overwhelming, but like the baseline is the scratchy. It's like the scratchy.
I love that.
That's very
That's
cool.
an awesome idea.
Yeah.
I've never heard
of that
anything like
either.
that. So, and
can't
what I
wait to
would
see
like to do is
And
kind
it's
of,
going to be magical realism, like
Magical
so
realism.
contemporary based.
so she goes to another world.
Okay, so there's another world.
Yes, but she's back.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like she's scratches, gets sucked into the scratchy, pops out, and then like she still has a scratchy on her, right? So then she can choose where to go from there, right? So once she kind of gets the idea of what's happening to her,
Yeah.
and again, I want to do this with like different genres. I want a genre bend.
That's fun.
I love
I don't know
that.
of anything else that has done something like that.
So I think it's a lot to chew. So I'm really not going to rush it. And I would like to, right now, my brain is kind of like mush. So I'm not trying to like push myself right
That makes
now.
sense.
Fair, but you definitely need a whiteboard.
But
That's a great idea,
as I
Yeah.
keep like getting ideas, I keep like kind of like taking notes and
Yeah.
like thinking about like when I come across stuff, I just kind of like add it into this Rolodex note of like
That's so
things.
fun. I'm excited for this.
But I think what is so unique about it is that it's kind of like based in like, you know what I mean? Like scratchies are kind of like a love language for my family.
I love that.
Very cute.
And I just think it like, you know, a grandmother like lore kind of like feels familiar
Everyone
for a
loves a
lot of
granny.
people.
Something about these two is like they're not in depth, right? It's like
No.
very quick, like you go down a trail, there's a backpack, do you touch it? Like I would love an in-depth story like this. I think it could be really fun. So what do you think? Do you think like they're only going to be a page, Erica, like how this is? Or are you going to try to like write multiple pages?
Well, that's what's so difficult is because like, do you just write, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how, like these work so well because they're so short.
That's true.
But also, yours is still a character.
I know.
But imagine a sick, like giant, like
So-
novel of
well,
this.
no, I could write it as like you.
Yeah.
Right.
I would still
right.
write it
But
first
so,
person.
So, but the motivations are like, when it comes to a novel, you have to think about that inciting incident, what's your character going to learn? Like, what's their like
Like if
misconception?
you really wanted to
like,
go that route.
yeah, or if you're trying to go the normal storytelling route of what your character is trying to achieve within the book, like
Yeah.
usually every character has an arc for a reason. So like, what's your character's arc? I think you have to sort of figure that out too, and how that relates to every
See,
ending.
I felt like this didn't have that though. These books.
These don't.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. That's where
yeah.
the
Okay,
difference
okay,
is.
Got it.
Hers is based
It
off
would be
of,
cool to have that.
but I think it's kind of
So
cool.
hard.
Like, so
Yeah.
how, as a person,
Yeah.
how does this character change
Yeah.
through every ending you have?
Right.
So
And how does it change her misconception about whatever her,
I really want to focus on like themes and like what things mean, like how things can have duality.
Right.
And that nothing is black and white. And like that's kind of like the theme of it is that like you based on your perception of the world is going to change how you see things in general.
True.
So like that's
Have you
kind
read
of,
Midnight Library yet?
No, I need to read
I think
it.
you should.
I need to do some research for some of these like type of
I mean,
books,
Midnight
but-
Library is not the same as that, but what they're going through in that book is basically seeing all the choices they could have made.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I do
'Cause,
want to read that book.
I mean, it's just
It's sad, right? Yeah.
Well, the main premise is that they want to
Yeah.
end their life.
Right.
And so when they are into entry, I mean, I haven't read it obviously, but basically get to see all the choices they could have made and what could have happened through
Interesting.
every choice.
So
Fascinating.
that's kind of what it's cooking in
I
the
love that
background.
idea. It's
I
gonna be
can't
so
wait
cool.
to see where it comes. We'll have to check in
see.
on that
I
every
know.
once in a while.
One thing I do want to talk about this book, the Cave of Time, was the last page. I don't know if you looked at this.
No.
Oh, I didn't.
Last page is basically like you can order books on here, and they have, I don't know, like 15 of the books that they've written between the Montgomery and Packard. Can you guess how much each book was?
To make or
No, like what
What year
the
it
price
was?
Oh, the price?
70s or something?
So this offer expires November 84,
84. I would say like $2.
$2, yeah.
$195.
Oh, it's
Damn. You're so cute.
I know my dates.
A
You know you're economic.
$1.25 to cover the postage.
Oh, what?
And then-
$1.25?
Yeah,
For postage?
for one. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now you
Rip
can
off.
have an up to or what is this?
Oh, it says $1.99 on the back too, on the front. Is that how much I paid? I don't remember how much I paid.
No, we paid like
It's just
$7.
it's
Yeah.
crazy to think that how cheap books were back then.
Everything was cheaper. Oh, and you owned your own media.
Oh my
Crazy.
god, dude! I'm
Isn't
so
it?
upset right now with all this. Like the Switch 2 doing what
Oh,
they're doing.
it's so bad. It's so
the-
much worse than I thought.
I told you.
You're right. You're
What?
absolutely right.
Nintendo's gone
Switch
villain.
2, they like
Oh,
the
yeah,
things that they're.
everyone's pissed at
Oh,
that.
You know how like
my
when
gosh.
you can buy a cartridge of the game. Now now the
You can't do
cartridge
that.
is just the license of the game. Mm-hmm. That you have to download stuff from the internet so they can still erase whatever you've
Isn't
bought.
that what? There's going to be a day where we don't own any physical media, which is why I love collecting books and why some people like collecting art.
It's
and
scary
stuff.
too because like you think about the law that just got added to the House right now where they want to eliminate any type of like obscene
Yes.
media.
Yes.
And who's
Judy Blume talked
determining-
about that.
Who's determining what's obscene or not? And is it
Yes.
these crazy right-wing fanatics?
Yes. I went to
That are going to consider everything that even mentions anything phallic as porn? I mean, we're talking about like the erasure
I know.
even books that don't have
I know.
smut in it.
This kills
but
me.
just have like sexually explicit content in any capacity.
That
We're not
and
even talking about romance
now
anymore.
I'll start doing stuff for like revolting and revolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Like Netflix apparently has like
I sent that to you
saw
guys.
one. You sent it, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a real. Basically, they're
reposted
American.
it.
They're erasing like basically like the people revolting against their government off
Yeah.
of Netflix in the American Netflix.
That's insane.
Not anywhere else.
But like, what do you mean Netflix? Like, whose side are you on?
So I went to go see Judy Blume. How random,
Right?
And she was speaking. She was doing for Jewish Heritage Month. She was doing a talk, and she was talking about the erasure or the book banning. She lives in Florida. She owns a bookstore in Key West, and she was like, Florida is its own. They have like a bunch of bills going through where they're trying to ban books. They were banning her books. The one where it was like, what's that book that she wrote? Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to ban that. And it's literally like about a girl just going through puberty. Like this shit's crazy. It's getting out of hand. But she did mention a lot of places that you can look to. Like there are people that are gathering to like fight against these bills. And like we should be looking into like how we can support that stuff because it's so important right now.
Yeah.
It's just crazy because it's like a bunch of like, it's like not that
It's scary.
many people. Like,
and who gets to
they're-
decide? That's your whole point is just like, how can you decide if that's a book that history, man, history just repeats itself because she was like, this happened to me in the 80s. Like it happened to her where her books were being banned.
It's so I've talked about this at like nauseum with people, but basically like I believe that, and this is kind of off topic, but I really do believe like what we're seeing right now is overcorrection.
Yeah.
And like this is overcorrection on both sides. Like people are trying to push on both sides, and that's why we're getting such extremes on both sides, because people are just like overcorrecting when most of us want to just sit in the middle.
Yeah.
And we're just like pushing at the ends.
We're fighting over things we shouldn't even be fighting over.
Yeah,
And it's
at
all a
this point,
distraction
it's just-
for the millionaires to keep getting rich.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hot take
choose
of the
your
day.
adventure. I really
Choose your
want to
adventure.
adventure myself out of this country.
Very good. That was
Choose your
good.
own adventure.
All right, Erica, well, keep us posted on when you write that because we'll be
Yeah.
waiting.
Could be 10 years
I'm
from now.
so like awed by your brain.
Me too.
Like you're just a little like
I think-
sunshine, like your little snowflakes in there. I don't know.
I
What
have
they
an
did.
idea of how I'm going to end this podcast every week.
Okay.
So
You're changing the room. You're changing the
No,
vibes
no,
at
no,
the
no.
end.
It's kind of what I always do, but I'm just like making it official. You know how in the last episode, or one of our episodes, I accidentally quoted Philly D and I said, I'll pass the question off to you.
Yep.
I think I'll end each episode now with like
a quote?
a question.
Okay.
Okay. Today's question is, have you read Choose Your Own Adventure books, either when you were younger or recently, and what was your experience with them? And will you read Erica's book when it comes out? Thank you so much for being here. We love you all. Check out books_n_Betches, BETCHES on Instagram, and you can answer those questions in the DMs, and Erica will read it. And yeah, we'll see you next week on YouTube. And everywhere you get your podcast. Bye.